Hey, what up, yacht? You ready to build your dance soldier F.T.G.U? Well, shit, we just gonna sit today, and I'm gonna give you an oral review of lessons 1 through 4. Yeah, that's right, we're gonna talk about 1 through 4, and I'm gonna elaborate and clarify where I can, right? So, lesson 1, some shit I call primary rootings. What was it? Body parts touching the ground. And in this class, we keep it simple. So, we keep 2 feet on the ground. Our primary rooting, 2 feet on the ground. We humble with it, yeah? Body parts touching the ground. We might go 1 foot on the ground every now and then, right? 1 foot on the ground. We keeping it simple. Thing is, we keep it simple, don't get it twisted. We're going to keep it interesting. You heard it before, variety is the spice of life, so we're going to get out here and variate on our primary rootings. Y'all variate on a primary rooting of 2 feet on the ground, some shit called stance. And we learned 3 stances in lesson 1. Yeah, that's right, we learned about military, widescreen, and the lunge. Y'all remember, if you have 2 feet on the ground, shoulder width apart, you in military position. Maybe step out with it. Give yourself 2 shoulder widths, you win some shit called widescreen. That's the stance. It's a variation on the primary rooting of 2 feet on the ground. Finally, if you got 1 bent leg, 1 straight leg, you're lunging with it. Yeah, that's right, and that's a variation on the primary rooting of 2 foot on the ground, keeping it interesting. These are complementary forms. The lunge complements some widescreen, complements, military. So how about 1 foot on the ground? We want to variate 1 foot on the ground. We talked about centers. You take your center of balance, you lean with it. Lean to the left, lean to the right, lean back with your center with 1 foot on the ground. You're out here variating on your primary rooting. Variety is the spice of life, and that's all you needed to get from lesson 1. How about lesson 2? Lesson 2 is called orientation. How did I define that? Relative positioning between points. If I'm talking about orientation, I'm talking about the relative positioning between points. Dance is where and when. Where it's at, when it is. And where? That's a point in space. We learned about point systems in lesson 2. That's right, a point system can consist of any number of points, but we keep it simple. So we're going to focus on binary point systems. Point A, point B, point 1, point 2. That's a binary point system. We went over a very important binary point system. Audience, dancer. The audience is point 1, dancer is point 2. We learned how to orient ourselves with relation to the audience. And for this discussion, the audience is always at your north. No matter how the stage is oriented, we just say, fuck it, that's the north, right? So we learned about our basic foot positions. If your feet are pointing towards the audience, towards the north, you're in basic foot position 1. Quarter turn to the right, feet are pointing towards the east, basic foot position 3. Basic foot position 5, if your feet are pointing away from the audience, towards the south. Basic foot position 7, if your feet are pointing west. I'm going to go on ahead and clarify here. There's a difference between basic foot position and basic directionality. Right, I'm still going to call, if it's basic foot position 1 towards the north, well, the north is just basic direction 1. So basic direction 3, east. Basic direction 5, south. Basic direction 7, that's west. And I only say that because sometimes you might want to be stepping in a direction different than the way your feet are pointing, right? You're walking backwards. Your feet are in basic foot position 1, pointing towards the north, but you stepping backwards towards basic direction 5, right? So yeah, northeast, southwest, 1, 3, 5, 7. How about 2, 4, 6, 8? Yeah, that's right, that's northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, don't take no genius to know that 2 comes between 1 and 3. So there's a little bit of elaboration there for you too. I think that's all we really talked about there in lesson 2, yeah? How about lesson 3? Shit, what did we call lesson 3? That was stepping, right? So that's where the basic directionality comes in. But we also learned about the 2-dimensional plane that is the dance floor and how to talk about where we were on the floor with some shit called standard floor coordinates, right? Your standard floor coordinates is where you out on the floor. Most important point, some shit called point 0. That's where you at on the floor when the dance pop off. When the beat drop on beat 1, wherever you happen to be, that's your point 0. Wherever you starting this dance at, that's your point 0. That's also where the north-south line crosses the east-west line. We assign the north-south line, y-axis. We call the east-west line the x-axis, right? Where those 2 axes cross, where they intersect, that's called point 0. So if you take 1 step towards basic direction 1, towards the north, towards the audience, you hit y1. We just said north, south was the y-axis. So north, that's positive. South, basic direction 5, that's negative. You take 1 step that way, away from point 0, you hit negative y1. 2 steps, negative y2. 3 steps, negative y3. Taking steps towards the audience in basic direction 1, that's some shit. Y, 1, 2, 3, 4, the positives. Y1, 1 step. Y2, 2 steps. You take 5 steps towards the audience, towards basic direction 1, towards the north, you hit y5. 5 steps back from your point 0, you hit negative y5. North-south, y-axis. So the east-west line, x-axis. East, basic direction 3, positive x's. Negative x's to the west. Negative x-axis. The basic direction is 7. If you take 1 step to the east, you at your standard floor coordinates x1. 2 steps, 3 steps, x2, x3. Y'all stepping towards the west, 1 step, you at negative x1. 2 steps, negative x2. So I hope that clarified, the standard floor coordinates. Finally, in lesson 4, we learned how to count. We learned about 4 kind of notes. We learned about the beat. The beat is a pulse. And basically, whenever we're talking Western music, we've always pretty much said the beats are quarter notes. And then you can subdivide those beats. Y'all probably heard something called beats per minute, BPM. They pretty much just talk about quarter notes. I talked to you about quarter notes, how you count them, with just numbers. Thing I forgot to mention, I talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, after 4 come 1. But the thing about it is 1 set of 4 isn't really that long. So a lot of times in dance, we go on ahead and do a whole 8 count. Same thing. You probably heard people counting in a dance like 5, 6, 7, 8. They just count in quarter notes. They count in quarter beats, quarter notes, the second set of 4. Same things apply to everything else though. If you're going to bring 8th notes, you bring the and. 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and. You want to talk about the triplets, the 12th notes, you bring the pullet. 5 pullet, 6 pullet, 7 pullet, 8 pullet. Finally, 16th notes, bring the 5 and a 6 and a 7 and a 8 and a. Now another thing that I was just talking about, 4 beats ain't that long, right? So 8th notes, they're even less. It's half as much time, right? 16th notes, forget about it, it's so quick. 16 notes is really quick, so sometimes we're going to want to do a dance move that takes up a long period of time. So I'm going to tell you about 2 different kind of notes we didn't go over. Half notes, whole notes. 2 per set, 1 per set. So how do you count them? Half notes is just every other quarter. 1, 3, 5, 7. Every other quarter, you count quarters with numbers. So if you just do the odds, you count out half notes. Sometimes we're going to need that much time to complete a dance move. Other dance moves are going to take even more time. A whole note, 1 per set. How you count them is just the first quarter note of every set. 1, 5, 1, 5. The first quarter note takes up that whole set of 4. That's some shit called whole notes. Sometimes we're going to do a dance move. Say you want to draw a circle in the air. That might take some time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Y'all see it's the 1s and the 5s to complete the whole circle. So I think that's about doing it. I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. I hope that you guys learned something. I hope that you apply that and you stick with me because I'm still only halfway through this series and I got some special topics coming up. I want to talk about the 8 efforts, isolations, motion in general. So stick with me. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, love it, sub it. I'm out.